So if you have been following me or this channel for a while, you know that I'm really interested in alternatives to Google Analytics. As much as I like Google Analytics, I work in Google Analytics on a daily basis, install it for clients, I train people in Google Analytics. I use it all the time, and as much as I like the program, there are clearly a couple of downsides to using Google Analytics. And that's why I'm always looking around and trying out other programs to see what's out there and what could be a better fit in certain cases. So today I'm going to try out Simple Analytics. Simple Analytics is an alternative to Google Analytics. I have never used it. I've only browsed the site for a couple of minutes just before hitting record on this video. And today I just want to open up my first account. I want to look through the site together with you. I want to install it on my site. I want to just go through the program for the first time. And I want to show you my first impressions. And afterwards, we're going to evaluate, is this a good alternative, or would you run this alongside of Google Analytics? And in what cases would this program be appropriate? All right, let's dive in. Hey, and welcome to the channel. My name is Leon. This channel exists to help you make better decisions in your daily work using your web stats. I want to thank everyone for subscribing to the channel and liking my videos, because that really helps me get these videos out to as many people as I can. As a way to say thank you, I have created a short cheat sheet on how to grow your website traffic. So whether you have a new domain or an existing domain, if you want to grow your website traffic, just head over to the video description to download that cheat sheet for free. Also, if you like this video and want to watch more, just head over to my profile. You'll find all sorts of videos just like this. All right, let's talk about a list. What are we looking for in a GA4 alternative? Because if you're moving away or if you're installing something alongside of GA4, there's usually a reason for it. And I have worked with a lot of teams across non-profit and for-profit, private sector, public sector, both e-commerce, where it's more about the euros, but also the more content-driven teams, where it's more about engagement, lead generation, conversion, sign-ups, job applications, whatever. And there are a couple of things that a lot of teams struggle with. And first of all, of course, the installation and setup procedure is usually not really easy in Google Analytics, but of course, especially larger organizations will just hire someone to do that for them. So that's not really a pain that I believe is felt with a lot of organizations. But of course, smaller companies will need to do that themselves, and especially on the channel here as well. I see some small businesses and they email me, and I understand that. GA4 is just really complicated to set up if it's just something you do for the very first time. So setup and installation is a big thing, I believe, for people to move away from Google Analytics, especially in the somewhat smaller organizations. The second thing that I'm going to look at is consent, because in many countries in Europe, but also around the world, you need consent, you need permission to track users. That means that if you start using Google Analytics in those countries, you need a cookie banner. And in many cases, those companies already have a cookie banner because they're running online ads. They're running campaigns in Meta ads, in Facebook ads, in Instagram. They are running campaigns in Google ads. And they have set up conversion tracking. And for that, you already need a cookie banner. So you already have it. So it's no problem to use Google Analytics. But there are cases where you're not running online campaigns. And then if you set up Google Analytics and for that you need a cookie banner, that feels a bit excessive to me. Like only to track users on an anonymous basis, you need to get consent from your users. And let's be honest, I don't think there are many people out there who believe that cookie banners have really enriched their lives and their browsing experience. I mean, it's a nuisance. It's annoying to use cookie banners. So not having to use a cookie banner, I believe, is a big reason for people to move away from Google Analytics. Also, another consequence of using a cookie banner with Google Analytics is the fact that you're just not tracking everyone, because many people will click, I approve cookies, I give permission for cookies, it's okay. But also some people will click deny cookies. And let's say that 20% clicks away from cookies, they don't give permission. Those are users that you do not track in your program. And while you do not need to have all data to be able to analyze your website and make better decisions, it's nice just to know how many people you've reached in the last month. So this could be a reason to either replace or run another program alongside of Google Analytics, just to know how many people have I reached in the past few months. Also, reporting is the third thing that I've written down. Reporting is not easy in Google Analytics. And if a client of mine asks me to set up a report, I immediately grab for Looker Studio. It's so much easier to set it up. It's easier to share. I mean, I can set up reports in GA4, but I don't find it very nice to use. And I see customers struggle with this as well. It's infinitely more easy to do something like that in Pivot Pro, for instance, like setting up a simple dashboard. So Simple Analytics, I don't know if it even has custom reporting, but if it has, I'm eager to find out more about it. And of course, I'm going to give a very subjective opinion, because usually I like to use software that just looks good and works fast. So I'm going to give my very subjective opinion about that as well. Also, lastly, I have written down something that I'm going to call cookie lifetime. Let's say that a user comes to your site from Google Organic. Programs like Google Analytics usually store an anonymous identifier in a cookie. And there are other techniques as well. You can do this via hashed value of your IP address combined with some other information, but they collect a anonymous identifier that enables the program to recognize that user once he or she returns on your site. And for instance, let's say that 1 week later, that the same person returns to your site and then buys a product. You want to be able to connect that to the original source as well as possible. And this is very limited even in Google Analytics, because cross-device tracking with anonymous users, it's impossible. So let's be honest, in Google Analytics, this is also not perfect. But I found in GA4 alternatives, especially the ones that call themselves very privacy friendly, they limit that cookie lifespan to approximately 24 hours. That's really common in programs like these. And I'm eager to know how this is solved in Simple Analytics, because if you think about like a purchase life cycle in your product line, and that purchase cycle is longer than 24 hours, of course, that will limit you in recognizing users once they return on the site. So that's in short my list. I'm going to look at installation setup. I'm going to look at if is consent needed. I'm going to look at reporting. I'm going to look at my subjective opinion on how things look and behave. And we're going to look at the cookie lifetime of the products. All right. Let's look at Simple Analytics. So here's the site. I've had this open for a long time, so it's giving me a pop-up here. My first impression is that it looks nice. I like the color scheme. I like the preview here. They have some nice companies here. I assume that these are all using Simple Analytics as their analytics tool. So these are not small companies. So they're doing great. Let's look at pricing. So what do you have in expectly monthly page views? So let's say 5 million. If you have 5 million views, 120 per month, 1 million, 60 per month, 100K, 500K, 40 per month, it's affordable. And then for businesses, up to 2 users. And then if you need more, mom's favorite. But they have a free plan for hobby projects. And okay, let's look at what is the downside of this. Okay, you have a 1 month history. So what's the cheapest that you can get? Like 15 per month. And then you get 1 user, 10 sites, 3 email reports, goals. That's important. Conversions, that's important to me. I'm gonna collect events. I like that. So events, I don't know how they would define it, but events usually mean something like, okay, you can track clicks, scroll behavior, you can track, like has a pop-up showed, things like that. And this is important, especially if you are in conversion rate optimization and you want to learn about the behavior of users on your site, then events is important. So that would be a reason for me to use this package. Metadata analysis, okay, stats API. So probably you can just connect to like Looker Studio or other programs to get stats from the API, trend lines and annotations, still not in GA4. So that's a big pre. And then support via email. This is also nice. Like Google Analytics is of course a free program, but if you have a problem with that, nobody will answer their phone at Google. So this is nice. In my mind, this will probably be similar to Plausible. So, and I am logged into Plausible. So let's do this incognito. And what's the pricing here? I'm on this package with Plausible, 3 team members, 10 sites. So this is a bit more affordable, but maybe more limited also. We'll see. And then 20K, 100K per month, 100K per month, Plausible. Let's go back, pricing, like 100K. Yeah, it's a bit more affordable. Like Plausible is a bit more affordable, especially if you're in the lower range, but here you have a free package. Let's say that if you do not have the cost of setting up GA4 or even a couple of hours of consultancy work to set up GA4 and help you get started, you do not need a training to get started, then $15 a month is just peanuts. And even if you are on 1 million page views, I mean, most agencies right now in the Netherlands are at 120 euros per hour. So if you need like 4 hours or a day of consultancy work to set up GA4, you can calculate the win if you would just go for a package like this. It's not nothing, but it's also very affordable, in my opinion. Okay, enough of this. Let's install it on our site. So I'm gonna start for free. Let's start with this package. Let me just fill out the links here. Info and general terms. Magic link is fine. I believe these guys are Dutch as well, so that's also a pre for me. Where I'm gonna press next. I don't want to add a colleague. I'm gonna complete my sign up. Yay, there you go. My first domain name is leonkorteweg.nl. Add sites, HTML. So I think if you would choose a program like this, you probably won't bother setting this up with Google Tag Manager. So I'm just gonna go into my site and log in here. I'm running on WordPress, but it doesn't matter if you have something else. Usually you have something like this, like a place to put in scripts. So in this case, I have a field that injects something in the head of every page. This is where I'm gonna put in the simple analytics script. Collect, do not track. No, let's leave this disabled. So do not track means in some browsers you can tick a box where it says do not track, and this script by default will respect that. So I think that's nice to do. And then enable no script. Let's just go for the default. So I have pasted it in here. I'm gonna hit save. And if you are running a site that has cache, you need to empty that as well for things to come through on your site. Cache is the mechanism for page speed. It saves a version of the page, so it doesn't need to process the website every time you load it. But if you make changes like this, you need to empty it. Okay, let's log out and visit the home page. I installed the script. It's gonna detect. Maybe I need to refresh here. Just come back in an hour or so. Okay, I hope this will go sooner because I don't have time to wait for an hour right now. Yeah, there you go. 2 page views. Let's just reload. Is it real time? Like, do I need to refresh this? Live page views. If I go here, immediately something pops into my mind, like GA4 has a processing time of 48 hours. So you need to wait 48 hours to be able to get decent reports. I didn't state that at the downside list at the beginning, but of course that is a problem in many cases. And you have the real-time report, but that is very limited. So the fact that you already get the page views here already is like really nice. It updates very quickly, processes the data very quickly. I have a trial right now, 14 days, good. We're still talking about setup here and installation. I'm thinking, is there something else that I need to do? Let's look at these settings here. So your data, you can import GA4. I'm gonna skip that for now. Keep stats private. You can even make your stats public. Let's see what that does. Maybe you get some report. Let's see if we get that somewhere else. Number rounding, time zone, not really interested in that. So annotations, that's nice. Bypass, ad blockers. So you can upgrade to the team plan. Website badge, embed code. Alert when missing visits. Okay, this is something that I really like. So in some cases, a web developer will just accidentally remove tracking codes on your site. And it's so frustrating to miss a couple of days of data. And if the tool itself has ways to alert when the script is missing, it's super nice. Okay, export data. Is this everything? If I think about setting up a web analytics program, usually I would think about something like internal traffic filter. And the moment that I talk about it, I see this button here. Filters are affecting the data. Filters are applied. There are no filters set. So I'm going to add a filter. I'm going to add a filter field. So I don't understand how I can filter my internal traffic. Let's look up, like, is unique, screen width, screen height, browser name, browser version. I want to filter by IP address and simple analytics internal traffic filter. Let's just Google it. Oh, can I filter out my own access? Visit your dashboard, settings, locate IP filtering option. Okay, so I'm in the wrong screen. So let's go back to settings. And then, oh, AI is making stuff up here. Okay, so internal traffic filtering is done through a simple extension that you install in your browser. So you do not have an IP address filter, but you do need to install something in your browser. So let's go how that would look. And is this good or bad? I don't really know. Like, for instance, GA4 will filter based on IP addresses. In some cases, that's a bit better because I have a couple of customers who are in education, big schools, big colleges, universities. And there are scenarios where you want to filter out everyone that is in the building. So all the students that are already in the building, because the site is aimed at new students. So you want to filter out everyone that's on the site currently. All the colleagues, all the teachers, everyone that's in the organization already. You won't always filter out everybody, but that will help with getting a better picture of who's out there. If you need to filter people out through an extension, that will limit your ability to filter people that you do not know. But on the other hand, there are scenarios where you only want to filter out a handful of people. You know them, you can just ask them to install this, then this is no problem. Okay, so you need to add this to your Chrome browser. Let's go to my site. Let's see what this does. Like, where are you? Simple Analytics. Let's spin it. Yeah, let's give it permission once per site, and then it works. When a visit is blocked, so let's refresh. Yeah, it blocks and it will show the count here. And that's how we know that this visit is not currently counted in my dashboard. So if I think about installing a program like this on my site, another thing that I want to look at is setting up goals or setting up conversions. And again, this is also not really easy to do in GA4. So I'm really hoping that they make it a bit easier. Let's try it out here. Goals. Goal. Good. I'm going to add a goal, and I just want to... Oh, it's based on a page view. Add filter. Path. Yeah, perfect. Okay, so I have a contact form. This is my conversion, and if you fill out the form and press submit, you are redirected to a thank you page. This is my thank you page. I use this, and usually I just want to count the visits to this thank you page as a conversion. And it lets me do this real easy. So when there's an event called page view, filter it by when page path is contact bedankt. Name this goal, contact form submit. Show on top of your public visitors dashboard. Yeah, why not? Add goal. Cool. So I'm assuming that this is the timeline where I'm going to see all my contact form submits. Let's see how fast this goes. So I'm going to remove this from my Chrome browser because I want for a second just to try out if this works and how quickly it works. So I'm going to refresh my thank you page, and let's see if this is counted already. I want to see how it looks if I get some data in here. Okay, it's not working. Here it is. Yeah, today, one event, contact form submit. All right, so I have installed Simple Analytics on my site. I have set up filters and I've set up goals all within maybe 10, 20 minutes or so. I think that's really, really nice and really good. All right, let's look at what else the program has to offer. Let's take some time to look at the Simple Analytics reports. And to be honest, I just installed it, so there is probably not much data in here, but we can click around and see how the tool behaves. What are the reports that are here, and what can we do here? So here I have a tab visitors, I have a tab goals, events, and then AI, which is probably some kind of chatbot. Give a donut chart with device types. So this is kind of a chat GPT inside of Simple Analytics, which is nice. Let's go back into visitors. So this is probably the main report where it all happens. Visitors, you can click out and then it goes to the documentation. Okay. Here is the goal that I've just set up, contact form submit. These are all the visitors, devices, pages. So to me, this really looks like a very basic dashboard, an overview of what's happening right now on the site, which is good. I might be missing something, but I was hoping for a traffic sources report, like a content report, like this list, then a little bit more elaborate with both the amount of users, the time on site, the bounce rates, the conversions per channel, things like that. Okay, you can filter down. So here, if I press direct, or if I press one of the pages, or I press one of the devices, it will filter down the entire dashboard and it will show me the time on page from that device, the page views, the visitors. So it's a little bit like Plausible, where you have one dashboard. You can just deep dive by clicking in the different tables, different charts, which is nice, but it is kind of limited. I don't see bounce rate, for instance. I like bounce rate to see like the behavior of people on my site. Time on page is also nice. Yeah, what can I say? You obviously don't have the ability to make your own dashboard, but maybe you don't need to. I'm just wondering, like, how does this work in the context of 10,000 pages? How does this work in the context of site structure where you have different groups of content? For instance, a multi-site. Are you able to filter down by language? Like if you have a .com domain and then /fr for France or /nl for the Netherlands. Is there an ability to segment, or is this just it? Also, if you have UTM tags, how would that work? Do you have a channel grouping? Let's just try adding a UTM tag to my domain and let's see what happens. So I have short key that adds UTM source test, UTM medium test, UTM campaign test. So right now I only have direct traffic. Let's now from this UTM tag, let's go to the contact form and let's convert for a second. Test, test, test.nl. This is a test. Send. Yeah. All right. Let's refresh this. Here are your UTM codes. Okay, so great. UTM source, test. Okay, so now I can click and I have all the traffic, which is just one person, which is me, from that UTM source. So, okay, you're running an email campaign or a Facebook campaign. You can just find that campaign in this list. So UTM source or UTM medium or both. You can click it and then you see the visitors, the page views, the time on page, and the goals that you got from that. It would have been nice to see the conversion rate though. Like in this case, it's a one visitor, one goal. So it's 100%. Okay, so I don't really know what else to say about the reports other than that it is very simple. It really reminds me of Plausible in this area. I'm missing some kind of stuff, but in some cases, this is all you want. And in other cases, this might be a little bit too limited. Especially things like segmenting data, segmenting on content groups. How would this look like if you have 10,000 pages? How would this look like if you have like a credible amount of online campaigns, things like that? This might be a little bit too limited. Okay, I've done some research. I still had two questions. First of all, what's the cookie lifetime like, and is consent needed to use this tool, or can we just pop it on our site and don't worry about cookie banners? And usually it is either or. So either you need to ask for consent and then you can put cookies on people's browsers and recognize them over time, or you don't need a cookie banner, you don't ask for consent, but then you are very limited in how many people you can recognize. And like I'm a customer at Plausible, so that's why I'm comparing it all the time. But at Plausible, they are storing the IP address alongside with some other details, for instance, the user agent, I believe, and they are hashing that and creating a unique identifier. But it turns out that Simple Analytics doesn't even store that. So it tracks even less. So I was wondering, like, how are they counting the unique visits? Because it seems to me that it does see the amount of visitors and amount of page views. Because I have, I'm still filtered down here, but let me show you what I mean here. Oh, kind of lost some, maybe I need to go back here. Yeah, so I have one visitor, 8 page views. So what's their strategy for knowing, okay, these were all 8 page views by one visitor? What's their strategy for this? Well, it's explained here. It turns out that they are doing that by recognizing if somebody comes from a different site or if they are clicking on an internal link. So they are not storing identifiers, but they're looking at the referrer. So what's the referring domain? And if the referring domain is something else, then it's a new visitor. And then if it's an internal link, for instance, if somebody clicks to the next page, the referring page from the same domain, and that's when they calculate a unique visit. I still don't really get it, because if I now use the same UTM text that I was using before, how will it count me? Still as one visitor. Ah, okay, now I understand. So Simple Analytics doesn't track anything, it doesn't track unique identifiers, and so if you open up a new tab and go to the site, it will just record a new session. So I'm assuming that this is the new session right now. Yeah, there you go. And then if you click to the next page, because I'm coming from my own site, I'm referred to this page from another page on my site. It recognizes that this is a page view within the same visitor. So this program is very privacy friendly, which is good. You do not need a cookie banner for this, even in the UK where the privacy laws are very strict. At the same time, it will severely overcount the amount of visitors, and it won't recognize returning or new visitors on your site. And you can decide if that's good or bad, if that's a compromise that you can live with, but that is a consequence of using this program. All right, do I like it? Let's talk about if Simple Analytics is a good replacement or alternative for Google Analytics. And let's just start out by saying that it's a good program. I like Simple Analytics. I like how it looks. It's beautiful to use, it's fast. The setup and installation was less than 20 minutes for me, and I have never used this program before, so that's really good. This is a good program for giving you an overview of what's happening on your site. And I'm a customer at Plausible, so that's what I'm gonna compare it to. I find that it's really similar to a program like Plausible or Fathom Analytics. It's good for getting an overview picture of what's happening on your site, fast installation, fast access. It's good to use for that. However, would I entirely replace Google Analytics for this tool? And the answer for me personally is probably not. I just don't see how a program like Simple Analytics would work in the context of an enormous corporate site where you have tens of thousands of pages, where you have different departments that all have their own reporting requirements, their own goal requirements. I don't see how that would work in like a bigger context. Also, I find the way that users are calculated, I find it a bit limiting because it doesn't track data, and that's of course a very good thing because you do not need a cookie banner for this. But because of that, it will not be able to really accurately see returning visitors on your site. And for this reason, I think Plausible is even a little bit better at this, has a little bit more accurate user count. You need to see this as a big estimate. I think you need to make a decision based on like what you find more important. And if it's just the big picture, what you're after, then this is fine. But for me, to use this as a complete replacement for Google Analytics, I wouldn't do that. I would use a tool like this alongside of Google Analytics as a easy access way to getting some stats in and then using Google Analytics for the more in-depth analysis. If I would replace Google Analytics altogether, I would at the moment probably use a tool like Big Pro or maybe Matomo, but probably Big Pro. All right, that's it for today. I hope this video was clear and I hope it was helpful. If you have questions or if you want to leave a comment, did I maybe miss something in Simple Analytics? Do you want to correct me? Or do you know another GA4 alternative that you want me to review? Please leave a comment down below. I always love hearing from all of you. Thanks for watching this video and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.